Welcome to the Week 9 injury report for the Detroit Lions. The Lions look to get a starting quarterback back, and it looks like their left tackle will play as well. We will have the rest of the Lions injuries as well as the Minnesota Vikings after the intro.
Welcome to Talking Grit.
Thank you for joining us. I am Jason Harwood, one of the hosts of Talking Grit. Today, we are going to get you ready for the NFC North battle between the Lions and the Vikings. The final injury reports were released on Friday, and there's both good news and bad news for our Detroit Lions. First, let's talk about the Lions secondary. Of course, Detroit is getting back Brian Branch from his suspension. The Lions will be without their other starting safety. However, Kerby Joseph is going to be out with his knee injury. Dan Campbell said so earlier in his press conference on Friday, and on the injury report, he has listed as out. So we will be without our all-pro safety for one more week. Hopefully, we can get him back. However, going back to good news, Terrion Arnold is going to be back. Now, some people may argue it's good news, bad news. I am in the camp of good news. Getting depth is good. I still think he's going to develop into a starting cornerback, a solid starting cornerback. Will he ever develop into a first rounder? I don't know. That's up for debate. He just gets a really bad rap, in my opinion. Even though Terrion's coming back, I still want Amik Robertson on Justin Jefferson. He locked him down so well in week 18 of last year. Let's see if he can repeat that performance this year. Avante Maddox, safety, is still listed on the injury report. He has been getting in practice this week, so that's a positive change. However, that hamstring injury, he's still listed as questionable. My best bet is that he won't be active this week. Along with Kerby, Craig Reynolds is listed as out, and Malcolm Rodriguez. And you might be confused thinking Malcolm Rodriguez hasn't shown up on the injury report. That's because the Lions activated his practice window this week, meaning he has 3 weeks to be on that, and the Lions will have to make a decision at the point whether to put him back on IR or bring him back. At this point, unless there's a setback, he is going to be brought back most likely by week 11 with the Eagles. Daniel Thomas's window was also opened up this week, but he is listed as questionable. So it is possible that we get him back this week, although I think next week is more likely. Sione Vaki got back from practice. He's listed as questionable. With Craig Reynolds being out, Vaki would be important because he'd be back on the return team. But before we move to the Vikings, I talked about it in the little intro there. Taylor Decker is expected to play. Dan Campbell said so in the press conference. He did not practice on Friday, but Dan Campbell says he expects Taylor Decker to play. Let's move on to the Minnesota Vikings. They have 3 players listed as out. We'll start with fullback CJ Ham, former Lion cornerback Jeff Okudah, and tight end Josh Oliver. I was hoping Okudah would play just because I think the Lions wide receivers could take advantage of him. But as Lions fans, we're used to him being injured, and he's going to be out of this contest. Maybe we'll get him for the second contest later on this season. Tight end Josh Oliver is a great blocking tight end in their run game. So them being down that hurts them. They already struggle in their run game, rated in the bottom third of the league. This certainly will not help them. Speaking of blocking, both starting tackles are questionable for this game. Christian Darrisaw, who has missed time this year, he only played 9 snaps in the last game. Previous game in week 7, he played every snap. Now, it has been since last Thursday, since the Vikings played last, so he has an extended period of rest, so there's a chance that he's going to play, but officially he's listed as questionable. Other starting tackle, Brian O'Neill, is listed as questionable. With J.J. McCarthy making his 3rd NFL start, is very important for him to have good offensive line play. But their starting center is also out for the Vikings. He's on the IR with concussions. He's had 2 so far this year. He's had a history of them in the past as well. So they are starting a center this is only going to be his 3rd start at center in any of level of play. I'm talking like college or NFL. So very inexperienced up there. So Ford Field will be a factor in this game, and I'm going to expect some free runners into the backfield or false starts, either one of those. Linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel has been dealing with a neck injury. He's been a full practice all week. It is expected that he is going to play in this game as of right now. A late addition to the injury report is safety Josh Metellus. He's listed as questionable. However, in my experience, when a player gets added late like this, it is very unlikely that they're going to play, but we won't know officially until closer to game time. Thank you for listening. For more information on this matchup, listen to our full podcast. We had Vikings writer Arif Hassan on. Great podcast. He is so informative, so smart, knows so much about the Vikings. So if you're looking for more information on this matchup, I'll link this in the description below so that you can watch that. As always, I appreciate you taking the time to listen. If you can like and subscribe, comment below. What do you think the score is going to be? How are the injuries going to affect this game? And as always, go Lions.